Write the question, children. Two particles of masses. Two particles of masses. Two particles of masses. 10 gram and 10 gram and 30 gram. 30 gram have position vectors. Have position vectors 10 I cap plus 8 j cap minus, I hope you remember what you learned in motion in plane, I dot I, k dot k, that we require for this also. 10I plus 8j minus 2k and 2I plus 7j cap plus 5k cap respectively. Yes, so find the position vector of center of mass. Find the position vector of center of mass. So in the question what is given to us? Only position vectors is given. Where is the first particle is lying and where the second particle is lying. Okay. Therefore we can write now R1 is equal to first position vector, that is 10I plus 8j cap minus 2k cap, and R2 is equal to 2I plus 7j cap plus 5k cap. Write all of you fast so that I will change the slide. Okay, can I shift it this slide? Now what is the next step? Substitute equation. So you can write position vector of center of mass. When you find out position vector center of mass, actually what are you finding? Where is the center of mass in terms of unit vectors, okay? So R is equal to, we have the equation m1 r1 plus 2 particles, no? So you can just write m1 r1 plus m2 r2 divided by m1 plus m2. m1 r1 plus m2 r2 divided by m1 plus m2. Mass is given to you, but it is in gram. So in physics, gram have to be converted into kg. So first one is 10 gram. First one is 10 gram. So we know that 1 kg is equal to 1000 gram. Therefore 10 gram equal to 10 by 1000, and that you are going to get 0.01 kg. Similarly M2 also you are getting in grams. So 30 by 1000. 30 by 1000 you will get 0.03 kg. Now substitute in the equation. Therefore R is equal to, R means RCM. R is equal to, substitute the values in the equation. M1 is equal to 0.01 into, write the corresponding position vectors like that. So 10I cap plus 8j cap minus 2k cap plus 0.03 into second position vector, what is given in the question, that is 2i plus 7j plus 5k. Divided by 0.01 plus 0.03, you know you are going to get that is 0.04. And I am writing this step. You can skip this step if you want. You can just write it, this is equal to 0.04. Now what is the next step? You have to multiply each position vectors first. 0.01 into 10i, 0.01 into 8j, 0.01 minus 2. Usual multiplication. Similarly, plus 0.03 into 2i, 0.03 into 7, 0.03 into 5. Please do that. Okay? Can I shift now? So first multiply 0.01 with this one, 0.03 with this one. I hope you completed writing. Can I shift it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now you can continue writing by yourself. 0.01 into 10i. It is going to be 0.01 into 10i. You can get it. I hope you get it. 0.19. Did you get the first one? 0.19 plus 0.01 into 8j. That means 0.08j minus 0.02k. Then next one is 0.03 into 2i, that is I am writing down here 0.06i plus 0.03 into 7j, that is going to be 7 3s are 21, so it is going to be 0.21j plus 0.03 into 5, that is going to be 15. So by shifting the decimal you will get this, divided by total mass, that already we got 0.04. Now you can do, what you have to do means very simple, add all the 6 terms, add all the j terms, add all the k terms. This is minus 0.02k and plus 0.15k, and give me the answer. I want everyone to do it, okay? Not only few students. The videos are majority are off. I know no one is only few students may have network problem.
Ma'am, I have like my webcam is not working.
No, Achu,
Send a chat.
Achu, you have sent me the message. It's okay, but there are so many others without giving me any information. Those who send the chat box, I am seeing it. Don't worry. I am reading. No problem. But there are still some of the students. How many times we tell also, add all items, add all j terms, add all k terms, and just write that vector in that form, I plus j, that format. I give a little time for you and then we will see what answer. Simple one, no? Okay. Have you completed, children? Atul, can you give me? I think you completed. Others are still doing. I think you completed the answer. Diya completed. Aditya completed. Yes. Those are still doing. Nandana completed. Sharon, did you complete? Okay. Nandana, can you give me the answer? What do you get now? On numerator?
0.16 I cap
Okay, correct.
plus 0.29 J cap
Yes, correct.
plus 0.13 K cap.
Correct. 0.13 K cap, because this is minus plus 0.15 divided by 0.
0.04.
That's enough. You don't have to do anything. You can just write the answer like this in terms of position vectors. Okay. Why we don't do anything means, the reason is that we have not division. We have not studied I cap division here. You can divide 0.04, 16 by 0.04 and we can multiply, but there is a term unit vector is given. So if you take the magnitude, then we have to take out A squared plus B squared, that big equation. We don't want. We can stop the writing answer here. That's enough. I hope everyone got it. Those are writing. Shall we go to the next problem? Yes. So next problem I am going to change. I hope simple addition it is. Question number 2. In HCl molecule, the separation between the nuclei of the two atoms, is about they are very small, that is why it is given 1.27 angstrom. Angstrom is the unit of a wave. Okay. So 1 angstrom actually is equal to 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. Because we cannot do the problem in terms of angstrom. But why they are used angstrom? Because spacing is UC, powers of minus 10. So very narrow, very small. Two atoms is about 1.27 angstrom. Find the approximate location. We told in a smallest molecule we cannot have exact center of mass. So we can only just say find the approximate location. Location of the CM. CM is center of mass. CM of the molecule. Given that a chlorine atom is about 35.5 times as massive as hydrogen atom. And one more condition, according to Bohr's atomic model, nearly all mass of the atom, you have learned in 10th standard chemistry, Bohr's atomic model. So according to the nearly all mass of the atom is concentrated in nucleus. Rutherford and Bohr's, concentrated in its nucleus. Question seem to be very big, but problem is simple. Okay, only thing it is given in terms of molecule. So here it is not given in terms of position vector, so it's a direct question, we can just substitute. But only one hint is given that hydrogen atom, chlorine is 35.5 times of the mass of hydrogen atom. That is something is given as a input. Okay, all other things are given to you. So in HCl molecule, the separation between the nuclei of the two atom, HCl means one hydrogen atom, one chlorine atom, they both are placed at a distance 1.27 angstrom. You have to find out where is the center of mass of that molecule is assumed to be concentrated, and on the basis of Rutherford-Bose atomic model, we know that it is at the nucleus. So shall we go to the problem? So since we consider it's a bond, a single bonding, so a single bond, so we consider the hydrogen and chlorine both are lying on the in a same line. So we don't have to look for one dimensional or two dimensional in this case. We consider they are only lying in a straight line because it's HCl, no? Not like covalent bond or something like that. So we can write down, let the molecule be along the x-axis. Molecule be along the x-axis with the hydrogen atom at the origin. With the hydrogen atom at the origin. So we can just write H is beginning and chlorine is here, and this is the difference. How many angstrom? 1 point. So you can write it down, 1.27 into 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. Instead of angstrom, we can write it in terms of meter. Now this is on x-axis, so you don't have to consider y-axis, z-axis. So you can write the equation of on x-axis. Therefore, center of mass at x-axis, we have m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. x1 is our hydrogen, we can consider, and x2 is our this one. Now what is the mass of the hydrogen atom? It is 1 because atomic number 1, therefore atomic mass is also 1. So you can write it as 1, and it is at the origin. Origin means hydrogen is 0 value. So x1 is equal to 0 plus m2, massive of hydrogen, you know that 1 into 35.5 is actually is equal to, I am just writing this for understanding, you can skip this, you can directly write 35.5 into x2. The distance from hydrogen to chlorine molecule is 1.27 into 10 to the power of minus 10. And mass is equal to 36.5. I am not writing 1 plus 35.5. I am just writing here. So this is going to be 0. Now you have to only find out this. Keep this powers just like that. You just multiply 35.5 into 1.27. How much you get? That's enough. Keep this 10 to the power minus 10 exactly like that. It may take time. So shall I give you the answer? We go to the next topic. So you do by yourself, you may get the answer this much. Check your powers and all. You will get this 1.235 into 10 to the power of minus 10 meter, or you can write it 1.235 angstrom. So do at home, check whether you are getting this answer. We will go to the next topic.
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, can you tell what we'll get after multiplying the numerator?
Multiply numerator, I have to just find out, okay? 1 minute.
Then okay, ma'am.
You will get 45.085. Those who are not getting answer, if you multiply 45.085 divided by 36.5, and you know it is going to be approximately 1 point. Okay. If you, how can you remove the decimal? You can remove the decimal by multiplying and dividing with the, you want to remove the decimal, you have done in small classes. You want to shift this 3 decimal to here, you can multiply with 1,000 and then you divide with 1,000. Then naturally this is going to be 45,085 divided by 36,500. Then it's from here it is understood your answer is going to be 1 point something. It's sure because it is, this is 45, this is 36. Much difference is not there. Okay. Okay. And then 10 to the power of minus 10 is still there. Okay. So this is how when the big decimal come, please remove the decimal and you do as the usual division. Then you will get the answer. Okay. Can I shift children? Shall we go to the next topic? Okay, so we are now move on to the next topic children. Already same topic. We found out center of the mass, center of gravity and then center of mass in terms of x coordinate, y coordinate, and if it is given in the forms of position vectors, that also we have learned. Now position, related to position, all the points we have learned. Now we are discussing motion of this atom. It is not only motion of the system. It is not only necessary we require only the position from where to where it is moving. This is not only required. We also require to determine the motion of the system. You need to find out now velocity. What will be the speed? At what speed the particles move? Only position is not a matter. So in straight line motion you have learned. The velocity is the change in position in a unit time. So the same thing, already you know what is position. We have already learned position. Now we have to have a change in position in a unit time that will give you the velocity of the particles in a system. Suppose a whole system is moving. Just imagine aeroplane is moving or aeroplane is flying. It is a system. So when aeroplane is flying, every particle of the aeroplane, including the travelers, including the passengers and luggage, the pilots, the parts of the aeroplane, all these are in one system. So when aeroplane flying, if you think about what will be the velocity of an individual passenger in that aeroplane. So if you want to find out the velocity of the entire system, we also have to think about what is the individual speed or individual velocity of the passenger which is in that moving or flying aeroplane. So that means we have to now come to the differentiation process. So if you want to change the position, change in position means you have to apply the mathematical differentiation. So the differentiation of position vector r will give you the velocity of the system of particles. So that is what we are going to discuss. Okay. So now you can write the heading, side heading under motion. You can write now next, velocity of the system. Velocity of the system. So once you come to know where is the position, you can find out the system, velocity of the system. When a system of particles moves, you can write one introduction, then we go to the velocity. When a system of particles moves, the position vector of the particles, when a system of particles moves, position vector of the particles and position vector of center of mass, position vector of center of mass of the system change? Position of particles and position vector of center of mass of the system change. You know it. When you are at rest, your center of mass will be concentrated at a particular point. But you change the position gradually, the position vector is changing. Then naturally what happened? The mass of the system also changes. Okay. You cannot move as we human being, we are a system. Now you are at rest. Now you started moving. So you cannot move with the same center of mass to there. Why? The reason is that there are a lot of external forces acting on you against the motion of the system. So when I am at rest with the same position and same center of mass, I cannot move. Why? When I started moving, frictional force is pulling me back, gravitational force is pulling me down, the normal reaction force is pulling upwards. All these things happening to us. So you are prone to external forces. For any system you are prone to external forces. Okay. So in this case what we do means we will ignore the internal forces. Internal forces means the inner system there will be friction within the system. For example, in an atom is splitting. Or for example, an atom is splitting and forming a new nucleus. That means there is some internal forces inside the atom. So we can ignore the internal forces and then we can think about external forces. But majority atoms and molecules, more than external forces, it is the internal forces. So in that case it's a microscopic particle, you have to consider little internal forces. But as a macroscopic system like us, a table, a chair, a moving car, a moving truck, a moving vehicle, in that cases you have to consider external forces, and that means outside, air resistance, frictional force, everything, and internal forces we can ignore it. Okay, so in that concept only we are going to discuss the velocity, angular momentum, all that. Okay, so that is why that sentence is given. Position changes naturally, center of the mass of the system changes. Okay, so you can write it down. We have R is equal to, we have R means center of mass, position vector. We have M1 R1 plus M2 R2, which is equal to MRCM, where M1 and M2, where M1 and M2. You understood why MRCM? Because according to our equation, RCM is equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R2 divided by capital M. Just cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, what is remaining? You are getting only this part. That's why I have written again MRCM, where M is equal to M1 plus M2. So you are writing only numerator, denominator multiplied with the left side. So you can write bracket capital M, M1 plus M2, and small m1 and small m2 are the masses of the particles. And R1 and R2 are corresponding position vectors. Thus MRCM is equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R2. You can write it as equation 1. That you write as equation 1. Next step, by differentiating equation 1. Now what I told you, velocity is change in position. By differentiating equation 1 with respect to a unit time, with respect to unit time, we can get it. Apply the differentiation. D by dt of MRCM is equal to, individually we have to do it. D by dt of M1 R1 plus M2 R2. That means you can, M is a constant, no? So you can take it out. That means M1 is equal to M1 into dR1 by dt plus, it's a UV method but the second term is 0. So I am just writing the first one. So I am not going for entire process of differentiation. You remember the UV method, product formula. The same thing, M1 into dR1 by dt plus dR1 into dM1 by dt. That is what you do, UV product. But M1 is going to be 0, so that's why second term I am not writing. I am writing only which is there. dR2 by dt. Okay, and what is this dR1 and dt? That is our velocity. So you can write out M1 V1 plus M2 V2. So same equation, what is the difference here? Instead of R1 you will get the velocity. And how velocity come? In terms of differentiation. So on right side you can write it down. MRCM is going to be velocity VCM. Why? Wow, okay, there is M also is there. What happened to this M we have to think about now. Okay, now VCM is equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2 divided by capital M. So that is the final equation. That is to find out the velocity. Okay. Next, acceleration. Acceleration, same it is. Again what you do? Differentiate this one. So you can write it. Second equation, this is equation 2. That is equation 2. Write it down because from this only we are going for the acceleration. So next term is acceleration. Acceleration of system of particles. You can write it down. By differentiating equation 2 with respect to time, because acceleration is equal to change in velocity by change in time, you can write it down M into dt of VCM, that is equal to M1 into dV1 by dt, M2 into dV2 by dt. So we can just directly write it. We don't go for the previous steps. You can directly write like this, and then you can write it as, that's equal to MACM is equal to M1A1 plus M2A2. Therefore, acceleration of the system also is equal to M1A1 plus M2A2 divided by capital M. And the previous one you can write it as equation 3. So m1 a1 plus m2 a2 by this equation is needed for you to study. Okay. That is equation 3. Hope you understood. This was simple, no? Once you connect this with a straight line motion, first third chapter, it is very easy. It's only repetition of those things. Now, force acting on the system. Now coming to the external forces acting on the system. Okay. So next heading, forces acting on system. So these all the terms we have learned in straight line motion, we are learning in terms of system of particles. That's it. Okay. So you can write it down. Before we go to the force, we can write one expression in that. Whenever a system moves, whenever a system moves, whenever a system moves, whenever a system moves, the center of mass of a system of particles, moves, system of particles moves as if all the mass of the system was, as if all the mass of the system was concentrated at the center of mass, concentrated at the center of mass, and all the external forces were applied at that point. Okay, so this is the assumption you take. Apart from this, there are some internal forces exerted by the particles on one another by Newton's third law. Okay, don't forget all these laws, all the three laws. Suppose there is an atom is prone to heat energy. Naturally, what happened? The internal electrons and particles of the atom get heated and they started vibrating. That is what in solid metals heat energy is transferred. We have already learned small classes. So here what we say, why we ignore internal forces? We ignore internal forces because of Newton's third law. What is that? Every action both equal and opposite. Every action has a equal and opposite reaction by Newton's third law. So if there is an external forces acting on a system from outside, there is an equal and opposite forces by internal forces on the system. Okay, thus both are equal more or less, but the opposite sign. Since it is opposite sign, internal forces contribution we consider to be 0. So that is the assumption you take. So you can continue from this. Another by Newton's third law. Therefore, internal forces occur. Therefore, internal forces occur in equal and opposite pairs. Internal forces occur in equal and opposite pairs, and sum of the forces inside term to be zero. Termed to be zero. So their contribution is zero. Therefore, their contribution is zero. Their contribution is zero. Why it is said pairs? Newton's third law, both action and reaction force acting on two different particles. Correct? So that is in pairs. Now one electron pushing another electron, naturally the second electron push the first electron also. Okay. So that is what both are positive, negative become to zero. So it is negligible. So who will be contributing the motion of the system of particles at this point? Only the external forces. They have something with the motion. So that's why we are ignoring internal forces in this case. Clear? Okay. Therefore, by Newton's second law, what is the equation of Newton's second law for the force, children? By Newton's second law, force is equal to what? External unbalanced force equal to what? Anyone remember? Atul, Dia, anyone can tell me? Therefore, by Newton's second law, what is the equation for
Acceleration.
Yes, correct. Mass into acceleration. So by Newton's second law, F is equal to mass into acceleration. Therefore, from equation 3, what we got that in equation 3? Let us now go back to that slide again. Equation 3, MACM is equal to M1A1 plus M2A2. This is actually Newton's second law. That is, total force acting on the system is equal to sum of the forces acting on individual particle. So that is entire system. So when the system moves, this entire forces acting by the particles, acted on the particles are come together and become the mass of the force of the entire system. Clear? So that's why. So from equation from equation 1 we can write that is mass of the system. So capital FCM, that is all the forces acting at the center of the mass, no? So that's why FCM is equal to F1 plus F2. So that is the force acting on a system of particles. Similarly, for n particles, total force, that is Fn Cm. That's for n particles, total force is going to be Fn plus F2 plus F3 plus etc. plus Fn. Okay. So we have completed the force. Next class, from this only we are going to the next property, momentum. What we have learned? Momentum, angular momentum and all. Okay. So this time for you lunch break. So I wind up the session now. So we will meet at the afternoon session. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Can you show that for 1 minute?
Okay. Others, those who have finished, you can leave the meeting. Achyut will take the time to write. You can leave the meeting, no problem. Go and finish your lunch. Those who did not complete, please complete and then go. Leave the meeting. Okay, Achyut? Okay, so I am ending the session. So we will see the next session, okay? Thank you.